about inner classes. Inner classes. To apply encapsulation of one entity within another entity. To apply encapsulation of one entity within other entity. Okay, we go for inner classes. Let's consider like there will be some properties which we need to maintain as some entity. Okay, there will be some properties or methods which we need to maintain as entity. But in order to access that entity, we should have the encapsulation of base entity. So if we want to provide such kind of hiding, okay, we go for inner classes. Inner classes are nothing but a class within a class. Okay, a class within a class. Let me write a new package. Okay, so now a inner class. Told that a inner class is a class within a class. So let me write a class. Outer, and within the outer class. Okay, the classes that are there in the .java file are called as outer classes or file classes. Okay, all these classes are called as outer classes or file classes. Outer classes or file classes. A class within a class is called as inner class. Let's consider like there are some members which are supposed to be maintained in separate entity, but if you want to put some restrictions like this entity should be accessed only through outer. Okay, if this entity should be accessed only through outer, otherwise it should not be accessed. This entity should be accessed only when there is an instance of outer. If you want to put the kind of restrictions, then we go for inner classes. So now, how we can create an object to inner class? Okay, in general, for inner class we write a getter method. Okay, like this we write a getter method where inner class can have any number of attributes, methods, and even constructors. Inner class can have any number of attributes, methods, and constructors. So we have inner class with 2 attributes and 1 method, and even we can write a constructor also. So now, if I don't have a object outer class, if I don't have an object outer class, is it possible to create object inner class? No. So if you want to create an object outer inner class, definitely we should have object to outer class, and through the outer class object reference only we should create object to inner class to achieve that kind of encapsulation. Okay, for specific entities we go for inner classes. So if you want to create an object to inner class, definitely we should have instance of outer class. So how we can refer inner class means just using dot. Just using dot we can refer the inner class, outer dot inner. Okay. Yeah. Anybody has a pen? Another pen? Okay, now just let me try to compile the application. Okay. But I did not print anything here. So it was perfectly compilable, but I did not print anything here. Let me try to execute the test method. Let me try to execute the test method. So okay, so we could be able to execute the test method of the inner class object. Okay, likewise we can access, okay, even the attributes. Okay, we can access the attributes as well as methods of a inner class object. It's compilable with the classes, execute application. So we could be able to access the attributes as well as methods of the inner class. Okay. Now, can we have a class with a private access level? Can we have a private access level for a class? Is it possible to have a private access level for a class? As per our earlier discussions, what are the possible access levels for a class? Default? Public. As per our earlier discussions, for a class or for any entity, okay, the default access level and public access level are allowed. Protected and private are not allowed for entities. That was our earlier discussion. Am I right? But why all could not able to respond? So, as per our earlier discussions, okay, let me comment out this. As per our earlier discussions, only default, that means package, and public access levels are allowed for classes or any entity. Now, let me keep a private class. What I have done is I have kept a private class, but the private class is a inner class. Okay, let me see. Now, is it possible to have a private class? Yes or no? Yes. But when the interviewer asks you like, is it possible to have a private class, or is it possible to have a protected class, or is it possible to have private access level and protected access level to classes? You should tell that definitely it is possible. And at the same time, you should give a clarification that for file classes it's not possible, but for inner classes we can give any access level. For file classes we should have either default or public, but for inner classes we can have any access level. You should give the clarification even he don't ask. Even he don't ask, you should give such clarification. Otherwise he will think that you are telling that for file classes private is allowed. So you should tell that private and protected is also allowed for classes, but only for inner classes, not file classes. Only for inner classes. So now, if you try to access the private class outside the outer class, then it will be a compile time error. Okay? If you try to access a private class outside the outer class, then it is telling that outer.inner is a private access level member, so we cannot access that. Okay? So it will be like that. The private inner class cannot be accessed outside the boundaries of the outer class. The private inner class cannot be accessed outside the boundaries of the outer class. A private inner class cannot be accessed outside the boundaries of the outer class. And inner classes will not be inherited to the subclasses. See, inner class is a member of a class, but it will not be inherited to the subclasses. There is no concept of inheritance of inner classes. That means inner classes will not be inherited to their subclasses. Okay? The inner class is a member of class outer. If we extend class X with outer, let's consider like we have a class X which extends to outer. To that class X, the attributes will be inherited, methods will be inherited, but not inner classes. Okay? We can keep even public access level protected, and even we can have protected. Okay, we can have protected access level also. So to compile, okay, we can have any access level for the inner class, and even for the inner class member also we can have any access level, private, protected, public, and all. Okay, even for the member of inner class also we can have any access level. Even for the member of inner class also we can have any access level. And let me make it static. Let me make the attribute I as static. Okay? Is it valid? Is it valid to have static? No. Okay? This inner class. Now, how we are accessing the inner class? How we are accessing the inner class? See, how we are accessing this inner class? See, first we are creating the outer object, and through the object of the outer class itself we are accessing the inner class. Okay? So, these types of inner classes are called as instance inner classes. There are 4 types of inner classes. The first type is instance inner class, which can be accessed only through the instances of the outer classes. The instance inner classes can be accessed only through the instances of outer classes. Okay, so that is called as an instance inner class. Now, here this inner class is called as an instance inner class, just because it can be accessed only through the object of the outer class. The second type of inner class is a static inner class. Static inner class. Okay, this is called as a static inner class. And instance inner classes cannot have static members. Instance inner classes cannot have static members. Or static members are not allowed in instance inner classes. Inside instance inner classes, static members are not allowed. It might be a static attribute or even a static method, whatever it might be. Static members are not allowed in instance inner classes. Static members are not allowed in instance inner classes. So, if you write a static method inside instance inner class, it will be a compile time error. Okay? Static members are not allowed in instance inner classes. Now, the second type of inner class is a static inner class. Okay? See, a static inner class. Now, how we can access a static inner class? Means, just we need not to create the object to the outer class. Even without creating the object to outer class, we can access a static inner class. How we can access a static inner class means, let me try. I'm not sure about this. Let me try. Yeah. So, directly using outer dot inner, we can access the static inner class, but it's not possible in case of instance inner classes. It's not possible in case of instance inner classes. For instance inner class, definitely we should create an object to outer class. Then only through the object reference only we should access the inner class. But for static inner classes, the format is a little bit different. Okay. Now, the static inner classes can have static members. Okay. It's allowed for static inner classes to have a static member. Okay. So this is valid. Static access member for static inner classes is valid. Even final methods also can be there. Okay, final members also can be there. Even final is not allowed. Okay, and even we can have a abstract inner class. Even we can have a abstract inner class. Okay, we can have get inner object where it will give the inner class object. Now, is it possible to create an object of abstract class? No, right? So, just we are not accessing the through outer class. This is a problem. So, outer dot inner. We should access in this way only. Outer dot inner equal to. Okay. Inner demo. IN. Missing method body, where it is missing in inner class, where it is in inner class. See, the method is abstract. Method doesn't have any definition, but it was not abstract. So it was a problem. And again, we should not create objects to abstract classes. Okay, that's a problem. So we can have abstract inner classes. Okay, that's possible. It's possible to have abstract inner classes. Now, even it is possible to have abstract static inner classes. It's possible to have abstract and static inner classes. So, it's telling that we are not able to create abstract class, but it's not giving any compile time error at this line. Okay? So, abstract static inner class is possible. Now, can we have a combination of abstract and static anywhere?
No.
Can we have a combination of abstract and static anywhere? Yes or no? Yes. For inner classes, we can have abstract and static combination. It's possible, right? Okay. Let me not create a new object. Okay. Just let me return null. Now will it be compiled? Will it be compiled? Yes or no? Yes. It will be perfectly compiled. So abstract and static can be a combination in case of inner classes. But in case of methods, it's impossible. In case of methods, abstract and static should not be used in a combination. But for inner classes, we can use abstract and static in a combination. And we can have any number of inner classes. It should not be only one. Will it be compiled? This we are executing getInner object. Will it be compiled or not? Test class. Okay, here class another extends inner, but the class inner has a test method, but the test method is not overridden in the other class. Even for inner classes inheritance also, it will follow the same rules. Okay, even for inheritance of inner classes also, it will follow the same rules. It's telling that another is okay, not abstract and it is not something. Okay. So let me may override test method. Just return new another. So we are creating here what we are doing is we are creating an outer class object and we are executing the getInner object. GetInner object what it will do? It will create an object to inner class another. So now can we refer the another class object using inner class reference? Can we refer another class object using inner class reference? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. How we can access means the inner class is a super class to the another class. So we can access that. Okay? And in.test. Now do we have test method in inner class? Yes, it is an abstract method. But at compilation it is possible. Okay? So we can access that members and the same for overriding or for any operation for outer classes and inner classes the same rules will be applied. For any operation the outer classes and inner classes the same rules will be applied, but just inner classes will provide one extra layer of encapsulation, that's it. Okay, just they provide an extra layer of encapsulation that if you want to access inner class then we should access them through only through outer classes. That's the extra layer of encapsulation that they provide, that's it. Except that in most of the object-oriented programming concepts it will behave the same. The inner class will behave the same as outer class. And the third type of inner class is local inner class. Local inner class. Local inner class means inner class within a executable block. Inner class within a executable block is called as a local inner class. Inner class within a executable block is called as a local inner class. So, if you write inner class within a within a method or a constructor or instance installation block or static installation block, at any place, at any executable block, if we write an inner class, then it is a local inner class. So, So local inner class is prohibited or restricted to that executable block only. We cannot access the object of local inner class outside the executable block. Local inner class is restricted to that executable block only. So if we define a local inner class in main method, at maximum it can be accessed only within the boundaries of the main. Okay, so that is called as a local inner class. Okay, so we can access a local inner class only within the boundaries of the executable block. Sorry, this local was defined after its usage. Now let me define local before its usage. Any member should be declared before its usage. Okay, in case of executable blocks. Okay, so now it was compiled successful, and we can go to the classes. Execute the application. So it executes the value and it prints the value 0. The 0 value is printed just because the local inner class attribute I. Now let me write a method just local test local. Okay, so now I can call the method test local. Okay, so the local inner class objects test local method will be executed. Okay, we can do any operations once we have the object. Let's compile, go to the classes, execute application. So test local is being executed. So this is what a local inner class is. Okay, this is what a local inner class is. But a local inner class cannot be static. Local inner classes cannot be static. Okay, it tells that static is not allowed here. Local inner classes cannot be static. Let me have a final class which is local. Now, what final for a class tells? Final class for a class tells that it cannot be inherited. Okay, final classes are possible, but static classes are not possible. Let me keep a protected access level for a local inner class. Okay, for a local inner class I have kept a protected access level. Okay, let us see whether it is possible or not. Is it possible? No. Okay, the only access If I keep public, then also it will give a compile time error. Okay, so what we do is for local inner classes, we should not give any access level explicitly, and the only access modifier allowed are abstract and final. Abstract and final are allowed for local inner classes, but static is not allowed, and any other access levels are also not allowed for local inner classes. Static is not allowed, and any other access levels are not allowed for local inner classes, but access modifiers, abstract and final are allowed. The access modifiers, abstract and final are allowed for local inner classes, but static is not allowed, and any access level is not allowed. Okay, that's about the local inner class. Okay, and the last one and a very important one is anonymous inner class. Anonymous inner class. See, the name itself tells that anonymous means. What does anonymous mean? A thing that doesn't have any name is called as anonymous. Okay, so inner class that doesn't have any name is called as anonymous inner class. And among the inner classes, very frequently and very mostly used inner class is anonymous inner class itself. This is the mostly used inner class. Okay, let me see how anonymous inner class will work. Just let me remove all this stuff. Okay, let's take a very simple example of creating a thread. Okay, now to create a thread, what we need to do? We need to create a class which implements runnable. Okay, and we need to override the run method. Now, what I will do is now is it allowed? Can I create a runnable object like this? Is it possible? No. Why? Why it is not possible? Runnable is a interface. So we are trying to create an object to a interface. Okay. Trying to create an object to a interface, which is not possible. So what I do is, rather than doing like this, what I do is, I'll make it like this. New runnable. Okay. Okay, I'm not creating an object to the runnable interface. I'm not creating an object to the runnable interface. Okay, here I'm not creating an object to runnable interface, but I'm creating an object to a class. Okay, a class which acts as a superclass to runnable interface, sorry, subclass to runnable interface. Here, by this syntax, I'm not creating an object to a class, a runnable interface, but I'm creating an object to a subclass to runnable interface. Okay, where is the subclass? Where is the subclass to runnable interface? Okay, this syntax will act as a class. This syntax will act as a class. Okay, after new abstract class or interface followed by parenthesis and followed by braces. Okay, if this is a syntax, then this will act as a class. This portion, the highlighted portion, will act as a class, and this class, does it have a name? This class, does it have a name? No. So this class is said to be a anonymous class, and since this anonymous class is supposed to be kept only in executable blocks, we cannot keep anonymous blocks outside executable blocks. Okay, we cannot keep anonymous inner class outside executable blocks. Since we are keeping these anonymous classes inside executable blocks, okay, so they are called as inner classes, obviously. So these are called as anonymous inner classes. This inner class doesn't have any name. At the same time, this inner class, this class is a inner class. This class doesn't have any name. At the same time, this class is a inner class. So it is called as a anonymous inner class. This highlighted portion will be called as an anonymous inner class. Just let me write the syntax once again. Okay. Just to create a object to anonymous inner class, what we do is new interface, or abstract class followed by parenthesis and followed by braces. This is the syntax. This is the syntax of, okay, creating an object using anonymous inner class. And which is anonymous inner class means from this opening brace to the closing brace. This is a anonymous inner class. The whole thing is creation of object using a anonymous inner class. But this highlighted portion is a anonymous inner class. Okay? So now let me try to compile this. Now if I try to compile this, will it be compiled? If I try to compile this, will it be compiled? Yes? Perfectly?
No.
We have an anonymous inner class. What we told? Anonymous inner class will act as a subclass to this entity. Anonymous inner class. This is an anonymous inner class, right? And this is one entity. And this anonymous inner class will act as a subclass to this entity. Now, if this anonymous inner class acts as a subclass to that entity, will it be compiled? If this highlighted anonymous inner class acts as a subclass to that entity, what is the entity? Runnable. Okay? This anonymous inner class, this highlighted anonymous inner class will act as a subclass to runnable interface. Now, in that case, will it be compiled or not? In that case, will it be compiled or not? What, Sharat? Compiled. Now, if we have a class which implements a runnable, now can I compile this? sorry, class, let's consider A which implements runnable. Can I compile this? Is it compilable? Why it is not compiled? What, Sharad? Where are you going? Are you practicing? See, this is a class and runnable interface. Can't I implement a class with the interface? Is it impossible to implement a class with the interface? But why you are telling like that? Okay, we are implementing runnable interface, and runnable interface has an abstract method run. If we implement that run method, then only it will be compiled. Otherwise, we can make these classes abstract. But anonymous inner classes cannot be abstract. We cannot make them as abstract. So definitely, in case of anonymous inner classes, we should implement the method. Okay. So runnable interface has a method run. It will not be compiled until we implement the run method. So we should implement the run method. Otherwise, we see here the error is anonymous inner class is not abstract and does not override run method of the runnable. Okay. So we cannot make the inner classes as anonymous inner classes as abstract. It's not possible to make anonymous inner classes as abstract. Just because they doesn't have any name. They doesn't have any name, we cannot make them abstract. So we should implement the run method. Okay. Can we access like this? Yes or no? This portion dot start. Can you access like this? What the highlighted portion will do? What the highlighted portion will do? It will create a new object to an anonymous in a class which accesses a subclass to runnable interface. Now, in the runnable interface, do we have start method? No. In the runnable interface, do we have start method? No. So it will not be compiled. Okay. So can we access like this? Yes. Yes. This highlighted portion will create a new object to an anonymous inner class which is a subclass to runnable interface, and using that anonymous inner class object we are accessing run method. In that anonymous inner class, do we have run method? Yes. So it will be executed perfectly. It will be compiled. Now, if I try to execute the application, run method is being executed. Okay. Now, now, is it possible? Just see what we have done. Is it possible? Yes or no? Yes, it's possible. So, as long as possible, as much as possible, we should reduce the usage of reference variable. See, for this, I can do in two ways. Okay? Just observe the difference. Okay. Are these two doing the same thing? This and this. Are these two doing the same thing? Yes or no? Literally both are doing the same thing, but unnecessarily we are making R1 reference and T1 reference, which is not useful here. So, at max possible, we should reduce the usage of reference variables. If it is reusable, then only we should use the reference variables. Otherwise, at max possible, we should reduce the usage of reference variables so that the performance of the application will be better. Okay, this is how the object to anonymous inner classes will be created, and this is how anonymous inner classes will be used. Now, just let me go for the yesterday's concept. Okay, we are using how we are creating the date format object. Am I right? Okay. Now I told that date format is a class in java.text package, and even I told that date format is a which class? Abstract class or concrete class? Date format is abstract class or concrete class? Abstract class. Date format is a abstract class. Now, can we create instances for abstract classes? Is it possible to create instances for abstract classes? It's impossible. It's impossible to create abstract class instances for abstract classes. But what we are doing here is in getInstance method. How the code will be means? Just I'm writing a very simple logic kind of thing. How it will be means the class date format will be there. In that class there will be a static method. In the getDateInstance method, what they will do is they will create a anonymous inner class. Okay. Now they will override all the abstract methods of date format. Okay. In the date format, parse as well as format methods will be abstract. Okay. So what they will do means they will override the abstract methods. Okay. Now, are we really creating the object to date format class? Here, are we really creating the object to date format class in the getDateInstance method? We are not creating the object to date format class. We are creating an object to anonymous inner class which acts as a subclass to abstract date format class. But ideally people will think like it is a date format object. It's not a date format class object. Date format class is abstract class for which it is impossible to create objects. But here we are not creating an object to date format class. We are creating an object to an anonymous inner class which is a subclass to which acts as a subclass to date format class. Okay. Now whatever the date format we are referring, it's not an object to date format class. It's a object to anonymous inner class which acts as a subclass to date format class. Understood? How anonymous inner classes can be useful? And if you use inner classes, at most they will be anonymous inner classes only. Okay? So this is what anonymous inner class is. Okay, and this is how an anonymous inner class will be useful. Okay? Now, for any case, let's consider like date format, number format, connection. Okay, for any case, if the interviewer asks you like it is abstract class or it is interface, how you could able to create an object? Connection in JDBC or database connectivity is an interface. But we create connection object. We tell to the interviewer that first I need to create a connection object which connects the database to the Java application. But connection is interface. How you could able to create an object to connection interface? Means we are not actually creating an object to connection interface. We are creating an object to anonymous inner class which acts as a subclass to connection interface. Okay, that's how your answer should be. Any question arises like this means the only answer will be through anonymous inner class. Okay, this is how it should be. Okay, and the mostly used one is anonymous inner class, and even anonymous inner class will act as any other classes. It can have attributes as well as methods. Okay, and it follows all the rules of abstraction. If anonymous inner class doesn't override any of the abstract methods of the entity, then it will be a compile method. So we should override or we should implement all the abstract methods of that entity. Understood? Even anonymous inner class will act as a normal class in case of abstraction. So this highlighted portion will be a class which acts as a anonymous inner class. Understood? Everybody, is there any confusion with anonymous inner classes? Everybody got it right? Yes or no? So this will complete the inner classes. Okay? And the mostly used one is anonymous inner class itself. And as we go forward, we'll discuss many examples of anonymous inner class. Okay, in collections there are some examples where we need to use anonymous inner classes like that. We'll discuss more examples. Okay, just I have discussed how an anonymous inner class can be created and how an object to anonymous inner class can be created and how it can be used. Later on we'll discuss more examples. See, as we discuss the concepts, in that concept there will be usage of anonymous inner class. Okay, we'll tell when the time comes, but right now we'll switch over to the next concept, patterns and matches. Okay, let's consider like we have a requirement that okay, I'll enter some value from the text field of user interface. Okay, and it should be only alphabetic. There is a requirement like it should be only alphabetic. Okay, now how we will write the logic in the Java code? How we will write the logic in the Java code that it should allow only alphabets? You should write some blunder logic like taking the ASCII value of alphabets and comparing whether this matches with the ASCII value or whether the X matches with the ASCII value or Y matches with the ASCII value. All those things, all those blunder things you should do. Understood? See, let's consider like I have a content with this. Okay, I need to verify that this should not contain any non-alphabetic content. This should contain only alphabetic content. How I can verify? First I need to split it into characters. Okay, R, A, J, E, S, H, 1, 2, 3. Total some 6, 3, 9 characters. And each and every character I need to verify whether the ASCII value is in the ASCII value of alphabets or not. The ASCII value of alphabets will be some like 32 to 64 something like that. Okay, so we need to verify whether it falls in the ASCII values of alphabets or not. If it not falls in the ASCII value, so for each and every character there will be ASCII value. You know that, right? All of you know that each and every character in any programming language will have an ASCII value, and the ASCII value will be the same in any programming language. So we will verify whether R falls under the ASCII values of alphabets or not, whether A falls under the ASCII values of alphabets or not. So that kind of logic we need to write, but that will be a very lengthy logic. Rather than writing such kind of logic, we have patterns and matches where we can match a string against a pattern. Okay, we can easily match a string. Let's consider like there is a string. Okay, this is a string that I am entering from the text field, and we have a pattern like, let's consider like this is a pattern, and I'll verify this string against to this pattern, whether this string falls in the pattern or not. Okay, if it is successful, then I'll give the success message. If it is failure, I'll give the failure message. Understood? Now let me show you how we can make use of these patterns and matches. Okay. Now, understood that why patterns are used? Okay. If I tell the examples, then you can understand it very better. Now, let me write a pattern. Please don't write this. I'm not sure about the syntax. Okay, and okay, let me, this pattern as well as matcher are classes in java.util package. Okay, now let me try to compile the application. So util text symbol your text package, where it is. So util is not text.
Are we taking any matches?
Huh?
Are we taking any matches?
No?
In the 15th line, we are calling it matches.
But it's still a class in the library, right? We need not to define it, but I did not remember in which package it is. Mhm. Java.rgx. Pattern is abstract class. nature of 2 seconds. It is matching to okay. This is the syntax that we need to use. First, we need to create a pattern object, a pattern class. You see here, it's a final class. Okay. So, what we do is, in general, first we compile the pattern. Okay. First, there is a compile method which is static method in the pattern class. Okay, and both pattern and matcher are there in java.util.regx package. Okay, both pattern and matcher are there in java.util.regx package. Regular expression, regx means regular expression. Okay, and any regular expression will be there in brackets, will be started and ended with brackets. This is a regular expression. And first what we do is, let me remove this stuff. Now only patterns and matches are there. Now first we need to create a pattern, okay, using the compile method. First there is a static method in the pattern class which is compile method, which takes a string. Okay, the compile method takes the string. The string represents the pattern. In which pattern we need to validate the string. Okay, A to Z. That means in a bracket, if you give A hyphen Z means, okay, only alphabets should be allowed. That too, am I giving uppercase or lowercase? Uppercase. That means capital A to capital Z means only uppercase alphabets are allowed. Okay, only uppercase alphabets are allowed. Okay, now just I am creating a matcher object using the pattern matcher, and to the matcher object I need to provide a string that I need to validate. First, for the compile method of the pattern class, I need to provide, okay, the format that I need to validate. Okay, the format or the regular expression that I need to validate, and to the matcher method I will provide the actual string which is supposed to be validated. Okay, the matcher method I will give a string which is supposed to be validated. First, to create a pattern object, we execute the compile method, which is a static method in the pattern class. That is the first thing. And to the compile method, we give the regular expression against which validation should be done. Against this regular expression, the validation will be done. And we execute matcher method using that reference, where to the matcher method, we give the actual string that is to be validated. Okay, we will validate this string against to this regular expression, and there is a matches method which returns a boolean value whether this actual string is passed the validation or failed the validation against to this regular expression. Okay, so now is it passing or failing the validation? Fails the validation, just because up to this it's passed the validation, but 1 to 3 is a numeric content which is not allowed. Now, will it give true or false? Will the matches method will give true or false? False. Definitely false, just because this is in lowercase, but the regular expression expects that it should be in uppercase. So, it is false. Now let me give it in uppercase. Now it is in uppercase. So why again false? Let me see it. Star in the front or at the end? Just you should give star so that any character that is matching. Okay. Star represents that any match is found. A to Z, any match is found, then the matches will be true. Then, if we give A to Z, now will be true or false? Will be true or false? Definitely true. Just because we have given a pattern so that it will allow both uppercase and lowercase. Now, will it be true? Will it be true? False. Just because we have given some numeric values, okay, in the actual string, but the pattern allows only alphabets. So we can perform these validations very easily using pattern. So if you want to write this logic our own, okay, will it be that much feasible? It's not that much feasible. We need to write a big logic for this. So rather than writing a very big logic like this our own, we can depend upon patterns and matches which will easily validate the string content against a specific pattern. Okay. Now, if you want to make it to allow lowercase and only alphabets, sorry, uppercase, lowercase, as well as numerics. That means alphanumerics are allowed. Special characters are not allowed. Okay. So alphanumerics are allowed, but special characters are not allowed. Okay. Now if I give special characters, again it will give false. Let's consider like I want to do some validations like so any special character should be preceded by backslash. Okay. Legal escape character, double backslash. So we should give a double backslash. Okay. Any special character should be preceded by a double backslash. So now it is allowing, it's validating even special characters also. Now if I give ravindra_123@gmail.com, then it will be validated false, just because underscore is not allowed here. Only dot and @ are allowed. Like this, you can play around with regular expressions, different kinds of regular expressions. This is a very primitive regular expression. You can have very big regular expressions and you can play around them. So today's homework for you is to play around the regular expressions, to know about the regular expressions. So search for regular expressions in Java. In Google, type regular expressions in Java. You can get many regular expressions. Know about them. Each and every character in regular expression has a specific meaning. Like dollar has a specific meaning. Okay, dollar has a specific meaning. Hash has a specific meaning. Star has a specific meaning. Okay, like that. Just play around the regular expressions. How? Let's consider like now I'm allowing @ anywhere. Let's consider like now will it be a valid content? Will it be a valid content? Yes, definitely. Just because @ can be in the beginning as per the regular expression that we have given. But is it a valid email ID? No, it's not a valid email ID. But we should give some content that first alphanumerics are allowed, then @ is allowed, then only dot is allowed. Alphanumeric, @ some alphabets, then dot some alphabets. Just the pattern should be like first alphanumeric, then @ then some lower alphabets, and then lower alphabets, and then a dot, and again then lower alphabet. This is a valid email ID, right? So we need to create a pattern so that the pattern, the match string will match against this. So that just homework for you tomorrow is just create an application which validates the email ID. So that first alphanumeric should be there, then again at the rate, again some lower alphabets, dot, again some lower alphabets. This should be the pattern for me. Okay? So this is a valid email ID for any application. So this is a homework for you. Just develop application, bring that application tomorrow for me. Okay? See, we can develop a regular expression like this. First alphanumeric. Then just first don't develop the whole at the one time. Just make it that, let's consider like there is a name. Now, can a name start like this? It's not a valid name. So if I give, it might be a valid name. So first start with this. First start with first make a regular expression that the pattern should match with the pattern should have, okay, the pattern should allow only alphabets as a starting. When it is started with alphabets, it can allow numerics, but numerics should not, the string should not be started with numeric. First do that. If you do that, you can do it very easily. Like first it should be started with alphanumeric. Then after alphanumeric, it should be at the rate, and then lower alphabets, and then dot, and then lower. So start with the very basic things and put in some add-ons to the regular expressions, so that you will get the final. Don't try at the beginning itself. So don't try to point out the email ID at the beginning itself. Just first start with the very small thing. Like first it should be started with alphabets. Then if alphabets are, if the string starts with alphabet, then after numerics is allowed. Then alphanumeric has come to you. Then after alphanumerics, then you can do something else. And then also you can do something else. Like that, form the whole email validation and give me the regular expression tomorrow. Okay, this is a homework for you. Do it. Okay, then you can be at least a little bit master in regular expressions. Okay, and if you are comfortable, definitely in any application there will be validation, and wherever validations are used, definitely regular expressions will be used. So that much important regular expressions are, but it's typically ignored in any training process. Okay, so practice the regular expressions well. Okay, even if I tell 100 examples here, it's not sufficient. Okay, so you have time today. It's a bandh, right? You don't have university today, and even you can practice many number of examples. Okay, practice them and come with at least one output tomorrow. Okay? Now, in the next class, we'll discuss most probably collections. Okay?